this is Dillon with you, bringing you another episode of the Tickle Me Comedy Podcast. This is number 38. I cannot believe that time flies. It seems like just yesterday we were doing like 1 and 2. Now we're doing number 38. We're having a great time. Sorry I haven't seen you for the last couple of weeks. I've been out doing a couple shows and just kind of really busy, but I'm back tonight, and thankfully I'm with my cohort Isaac, Israel. He and I have kind of missed being together for a while, but we're back for tonight. So before we get started, I always forget to do this at the end of the show, but I really want to thank the folks that helped get us together here. That we got behind the camera, we got Nick, we got Sammy, we got Malaysia. Our remote team is JT, Roy, Dan Roy, and Jesse.
Dan Fish.
And so, without those folks, we could not make this thing happen. I also want to give a big shout out to Tickle Me Comedy Club and the Blue Zone Comedy Tour. So with that, let me hand it over to Isaac to introduce our incredible guest for tonight. Isaac, how are you?
Before we introduce our incredible guest for tonight, we have to talk about our sponsors. Okay, so we are sponsored by the Blue Zone Comedy Tour, Tickle Me Comedy Club, ACTV, Amazon Fire, Binge Networks, and Roku. So grateful for our sponsors. And now, drum roll please, ladies and gentlemen. So our guest, I've actually known him for only a few weeks. We attend the same church, and we started talking on Facebook because of that connection. And so Tim Chizmar, he is a headlining touring stand-up comedian, or semi-retired. He was on the Playboy Channel, Comedy Central, Showtime, several TV networks. He's a writer. He is a producer. He's made films. He's done a gamut of entertainment activities in Hollywood, and so we're lucky to have him here tonight. Just chasing after him a couple of times to get him to come out to our events, and he was open this evening, and just lucky to have him this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen,
let me jump in before.
Yeah.
So I just met Tim a couple minutes ago. I think we're going to be good friends for a long time. He's my kind of guy. Hilarious. I know we're going to have a great time on this podcast tonight. So buckle up, folks. Go ahead.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tim Chizmar.
Yay, it's me! Woo-hoo! I get to talk now. Yay! So it's great. Thanks for having me on, man. And it is funny. We do go to the same church. What a hoot. Yeah. All right. Out of all the gods, you and I picked the right one. It's very exciting. So I sent my bio over, and I'm game to talk about whatever you guys want. I know it's like a 7-hour podcast. Is that so? I should plan.
We're going 8 tonight.
Is it?
Yeah, because you're here.
But I ate before I came over. That's just some of the humor you're going to get tonight.
It is a comic. Oh my God.
So Tim, why is it that we're just going to go right into your bio. So why is it that you left stand-up? I mean, it seems like you left.
You want to start at the end?
Yeah. Why did you leave stand-up comedy?
Let's start before that. How long did you do stand-up comedy?
Yeah, that's like asking a guy who got divorced. There's no good times. There's no honeymoon.
Jump right into it. It's like,
how long you been divorced?
Oh my God.
Both. Yeah.
Okay. When I graduated from college, I went to school in Pennsylvania. I moved to California. I sold a screenplay, and I had all my passion into this script.
Let's back it up even more.
Even more?
Yeah, even more. So you went to, was it the Edinburgh University? In Pennsylvania.
Right.
So I didn't know Edinburgh, like Scotland, Edinburgh, has a
Yes.
university in Pennsylvania. Oh my God! Is this like British people walking around like with the Amish, like in Pennsylvania?
I believe it is Scottish, sir.
Oh, Scottish, yeah.
As much as
yeah. We can't see.
Did you have to wear a kilt?
Well, I didn't have to, but I like airing out the voice. So they absolutely have kilts. It is kilts, and it is the Fighting Scots is our football team. Yeah.
Oh, nice. You have leprechauns?
That's great. I had no idea.
That's Irish. You people are the worst. The worst at geography. My goodness. No, we were the land of the Loch Ness Monster people.
Oh, yes. The Loch Ness Monster.
It does exist.
That's what they call me when I wear my kilt.
So what part of Pennsylvania is that?
It is between Erie and Pittsburgh.
Okay, cool. So then, after college...
Yeah, I was like the Tom Green of my college. I was the radio guy, the TV guy. I wrote for the newspaper, and so I left with a big enough ego, like anybody who runs to Hollywood. I'm just gonna take over this town. Yeah. So I landed in Rancho Cucamonga, wrote a screenplay with two of my buddies, and we optioned it.
Wow.
And nothing happened.
Okay.
It just sat on a shelf. I got some money, and then I got disappointed. And I said, you know what? I'm sick of going to these partnerships where people kind of let me down. So the whole reason I did stand-up was because it's me and a microphone.
Yeah.
If I'm funny, that's great. If I suck, it's on me. But nobody can let me down. No one can disappoint me. No one can mess up a deal. And that was the appeal for stand-up. It was like, this is me and a microphone on the stage. Let's just let it happen.
Oh, that's great. And you're able to headline top clubs all around the country, including Hollywood.
Yes, because I learned early on that it's show business. And a lot of other comedians go in there and they just try to be, wacky Joe funny. But there needs to be an additional reason why you're on the shows. And coming from a background in promoting, I was promoting pro wrestling shows for years while I was in college. So I knew the benefit of filling those seats. So early on, I was the guy who became a promoter comedian. Yeah. So if I had a Tuesday at the Improv, it's because that was my night. And so it wasn't just that I was getting stage time, but I would book other comics who then owed me favors, and I would be in charge of selling out the club. And so, when it hit max capacity, I got paid out. They loved me. They said, give this guy another day. And then pretty soon I was doing Irvine, Ontario, Brea, Hollywood, the John Lovitz Comedy Club. Every month I had 7-8 shows of my own. And then that just bleeds over into the other aspects where people were saying, the celebrities wanted to drop in because they knew I had a crowd. Yeah. People would have the show before, like let's say on a Thursday there was an 8 and a 10. The 8 p.m. show might have 100 people. Well, my line is down the road for the 10 p.m. Yeah. So the big comedian would say, hey, can I drop in on your show? And things like that happen.
So what was the secret to promote and get like you say, like the Ontario Improv, that's like 400 people. So what was the secret to getting those venues filled?
It varied depending on the location. But a big part of it was reaching out to the other comics and finding out what was the basis for. My shows were very unique, very weird tours. I'll give you an example. One of the first successes that I ever had, which led to selling my first TV option. I did 6 episodes for the Country Music Channel on an idea that one of my comedy coaches told me I should never tell anyone in comedy. I gave him this idea. I'll tell you guys what it is, but I told him, I said, I have an idea. I have an idea. Oh, they're all gonna steal my ideas. I had this idea for a comedy show, and I told my comedy coaches, and there were 2 of them, Gary Cannon and Johnny Dam. Do you know Gary Cannon?
I've heard of Gary Cannon.
Gary? Yeah. He's a great guy. He's a warm-up for Conan O'Brien. Yeah. He's toured with, all the biggies, Brian Regan, etc. Yeah. So I told Johnny Dam, here's my idea. I want to combine what I knew about professional wrestling, title belts, feuds, a referee that's the MC. I want to combine the aspects of professional wrestling with stand-up comedy storytelling. And that's what I want to create. I want to tour with it. And he said, Tim, it's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. If you want to work in stand-up, don't tell anyone about it. And I said, oh, okay, sir, I'm so sorry. And then a couple of months later, it wouldn't leave my head. And so I mentioned it to the other guy. And he said, that's the greatest idea I've ever heard. Let me call the general manager of the Ontario Improv. And he did. And I got a Tuesday. And that's how it all got started. But it was, we would invite celebrity wrestlers to drop in on the show. And then celebrity comedians would drop in because it was so weird. I had Ralphie May, I had Gabriel Iglesias, and on the wrestling side, I had Rob Van Dam and Booker T, and Hulk Hogan lent me a copy of The Secret. Like, it became so big and such a big tour that we signed the deal with the Country Music Channel.
So what was the format? The comics would wrestle and get a belt?
No, the comics would do stand-up against each other. So if you two were on my show, there would be a reason why you guys are going in a comedy battle tonight. And the MC would have a referee shirt on and talk about, in this corner, we got so-and-so. In this corner, some of the people who worked on my shows went on to develop shows like Roast Battle. So this is how these things get started.
So,
and there'd be title belts, and there'd be feuds, and there'd be like, if his hand got raised, because it went to an audience vote, but it was predetermined just like wrestling. So we would get them to cheer, what do you think of this guy? How his set was? Boo, this guy, yay, okay, this guy, the champion, and things would bleed over into other shows. It was a whole storyline. It was a blast.
So the wrestlers, did they do stand-up comedy too?
Sometimes.
Okay, but what did they, if they didn't do stand-up comedy, what did they do?
We used elements of their wrestling persona. So for example, Sabu, if you're familiar with him, he's an ECW wrestler, WCW. He would show up, and his big thing is that he's the strong, silent guy. So if there was a comedian who was feuding with Rob Van Dam, he would maybe stand behind you on stage during your set, and like you would get a laugh, and you just so we would tie into these elements.
Wow,
But it was fun because
absolutely brilliant.
well, because I heard from some of the wrestlers who lived in Southern California, they didn't want to travel and they didn't want to hurt their bodies. So it was the perfect aspect for them to get on stage, use their name, make some money, still be known. And this was before guys like Mick Foley and all these other people took an element and started following our lead.
Yeah.
How
Now
cool
Rob
is that?
Van Dam still does stand-up comedy.
He lives out here. He lives 10 minutes from my house. One of my best friends. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's
Cool
great.
is that? That's a lot of fun. I'd like to do something like that.
But that's just one. I created these tours, and so I tried to be more than just the stand-up. Is my point.
Yeah.
That was my avenue.
That's right. And like, Dillon asked, how long did you do it for?
About 14 years.
14 years doing those promoting and the comedy at the same time.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So the question is, why did you end it?
Okay, well, if you know what more happies, because I've got notes, people. I've got a checklist of stuff I was gonna go through.
Oh, okay,
but
no,
that's fine. No,
checklist.
it's your show.
Wait.
Well,
So I was looking over his shoulder.
Yeah,
Nudist comedy.
absolutely.
Nudist comedy.
So we created a comedy tour where the audience was naked and the comedians were naked. And you were not able to take video or pictures, so it was one of those things that it was a word of mouth. So you kind of had to be there. So it was almost like a dare. People would come out and do it because it was like the Rocky Horror Picture Show or something.
Wait. So were they wearing just like short shorts, or they're completely naked?
I don't think you're hearing the words that are coming out of my mouth. They were naked. And even when they came up to the door, there was a changing area where you disrobe. You had to be over 18. You disrobe. You left your clothes underneath your chair. I mean, it was a whole process. Yeah.
Audience and
Was it-
performers.
Yes.
Was it more guys than girls, or?
In the crowd?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Women are way more, that's what society does. Women are way more uncomfortable about their bodies, which was awesome because I had some amazing write-ups in Vice Magazine, in Playboy, in the LA Times, where women would come to the shows and they would be afraid that it's going to be making them awkward or objectified or whatever, and they had amazing times and nobody cared. It didn't matter what you looked like.
Yeah, I guess, well, in my case it would, but I digress.
It was a blast. And some of the celebrities who dropped down on the shows would, get naked and just show up.
Wow, look at that.
Did you think that up?
Yeah, of course.
That is the coolest. See, I told you he and I were going to be great friends.
We'll be naked, hanging out, drinking a beer after the show.
How about the Big Men of Comedy tour? What was that?
No, I'm not holding your feelings. We don't have to go to my checklist, bro. I was just teasing you.
This looks interesting. I didn't even look and see
So
that.
the Big Men of Comedy was fat guys, 4 funny fat guys, comedy that's off the scale. So before all the other, I collected a bunch of other fat guys and we toured around and we did shows at little like meet and greets at donut places, and we had a DVD that came out of it. So the Big Men of Comedy tour was one of
A
those.
DVD?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it released anywhere?
Yes, of course. Yes. It was back when I was working with the John Lovitz Comedy Club. It was part of his. He did another show with Quinn Dahl and I forget the Ian Bagg and a bunch of other guys.
Yeah.
But it was the same company. Yeah.
Son of a gun. That's great. That's great.
And then on and on and on. But the point is, I thought outside the box. I wasn't like, I'm funny, I got jokes. Yeah, well, so do 9 million other people. So I had to have something else, something extra about what I was doing.
Where did you, besides Cali, where else did you travel around the country?
Primarily Cali. Because the road gigs, I did road gigs. I did bars and in clubs and casinos and stuff like that, but I didn't love living on the road.
Yeah. It's tough.
It is tough, and for me, I found that relationships were nearly impossible when I lived on the road. It seemed like as soon as I got in my car and I was driving to the, end of the Mountain Gods Casino in New Mexico. Have you played there? Yeah. Winners. Yeah. So I'm on my way there, and that's when my girlfriend would want to start a fight with me, Because in the beginning, it's exciting that you're a comedian, and then reality sets in, and she's like, wait a minute, you're going away this weekend again?
I'm not first.
You want to, and so I would get that call. I still remember one of the calls that was, I'm on the road. I'm thinking, I got to get to Chuckle Hut or whatever. And she would call and she's saying that an ex-boyfriend of hers wants to have a drink with her at midnight. And I'm telling her why this is a bad idea. Like, maybe you shouldn't put yourself in that position. And then
Nothing's gonna happen.
Right, she turns around and she's all, don't you trust me? Don't you? That's not the point. Why would you do it? Why would you put yourself in that position anyway? And I'm thinking, I'm supposed to be, Mr. Wacky Wacky Ha.
Now on the other side, I've heard like comedians say, hey, if you hook up with a girl while you're on the road, it's not cheating.
It doesn't count?
It doesn't count, yeah.
Because it's in another state? Is that how it works?
Like, what? You know, like if you're in a committed relationship where you're married, girlfriend, or you know, engaged, you know, if you cheat on them, it doesn't count, you know.
What happens on the road stays on the road.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. To get a little pseudo-philosophical, do you know who Eric McEnroe is?
No.
God damn. How are we all comedians and we know different circles? Eric used to play the Riviera all the time out here. Great guy. And when I went on the road with him, he would headline, all these girls would want to sleep with him after the show, and he wouldn't do it. He stayed committed to his wife, but the thing I never understood was he never told her that he could have. If I was the guy and all these women wanted to have sex with me, I would at least tell my wife so I get some brownie points that this is how much I love you, that I didn't do this thing I could have done and you never would have known, but I didn't tell you. And he would turn all these girls down and he wouldn't tell his wife. And I always thought that was really interesting, you know? A different kind of commitment, you know? Not only did he say no, but he doesn't get any credit for it.
He kept it to himself. That's a cool guy.
Yeah, I would wear a t-shirt that said, I could have cheated on you last night. Maybe wear it underneath another shirt in case I get in trouble and then just take it off.
Oh my God.
So I noticed your comedy is a little bit of your own experiences and then just like observational stuff, like the Disney joke about how like they always talk about family, but there's no family, right? Like how did you come up with that joke?
Well, it was absolutely something that bothers me, that, Disney is so family positive, and then you watch it and it's all broken families. And there's tons of examples of it where, you know, they're all broken. Think about it. Think about your favorite Disney film. Think Aladdin. There's Jasmine with her dad. Where's the mom? Yeah, I mean, you could just break it down and go through
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, there's dad. Dad's dealing all this stuff with him. Where's the mom?
Little Mermaid.
Right. Again, Ariel. She has the chubby dad. Why is it always the chubby dad?
Yeah, right.
No fit dads. And you know, it goes on and on until you finally remember. Oh, a Disney film that had a mom in it. Bambi.
Right.
You finally put a mom in the movie. In the first 5 minutes, they shoot her. That's Disney films, and on and on and on. But yeah, absolutely. But like any other comic, this stuff just comes to me. Things that are unique and odd and special, and you know, the different way that we look at the world than anybody else does.
Right.
And it's kind of fun. Like when you're on stage, you can take these people on a journey and have them looking at things from our angle they wouldn't normally think about. You know?
That's our job. That's what we do, right? We things that are obvious to us are not necessarily as obvious to the audience, and that's our job, is to bring that to them in a different perspective. Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Would you consider your career as more like a clean or a dirty comedian, or what do you think?
Well, I guess I would say honest. That's how I would say it. Because
it is honest.
Yeah, it has to be honest. Because for me, like if I was to go up there and be Mr. Squeaky Clean Comic, that wouldn't be honest. And Gabriel Iglesias told me that early on. He said, "You're a smiley, friendly guy. You should be really clean." And that's just not my bag. I'm more of a Ron White tater salad kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, when I hit my foot, I don't say diddly darn. You know. I say other words. Yeah. So for me, it has to be. Otherwise, it's not authentic. I'm not being real.
Yeah, I noticed that because like that one joke you have about how you're just like encouraging your girlfriend to fart, you know, like it's just because you wanted.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that I can talk up here. I haven't.
No, you can talk about it. I mean, we have, we edit it, so.
All right. We'll test that, motherfuckers.
No, we are. We do edit it.
I know. So I was dating this girl, and I feel that when you have a relationship at the ultimate level, when you guys are completely comfortable and happy with each other, that's when you can fart around each other. And so I would encourage my girlfriend to fart in my presence. And finally one day she came out of the bathroom and she put her leg up on the dresser. She had just been showering. And she said, "Tim, this is how much I love you." And then she made a face like she was going to fart. She's like, "Oh, oh." And then she took a shit. Now, she didn't mean to take a shit. But by God, that's what happened.
Oh, man.
And she screamed and dove under the covers and pulled the covers over her head. And I was just standing there trying to think of the first thing to say. I'm like, Wow.
You do love me.
You love me a lot more than I love you. So I was just looking for a fart. And on and on and on. That was a closer for a long time.
Actually, that is the nicest thing you can say in that situation, right? That is the nicest thing you can say in that situation.
Obviously,
Brilliant.
Obviously, I've done the wrong thing because I have a new girlfriend that I live with.
Yeah.
And she must feel really comfortable because the other night she farted under the sheets and I gagged almost.
Wait, did she know she farted though? Or she farted in her sleep?
No, she knew she did it. I thought I was gonna die.
I'm just always looking for that comfort level. I want everybody to be comfortable and.
Well, it's okay if they don't stink, but yeah.
But she doesn't know if it's a mistake. You have to keep like a box of matches next to the bed.
My contract, mine don't stink.
Oh my god! You have like a little car air freshener right above your boxers. Oh, that's cinnamon.
What is that? Oh, ooh. I swear that's a true story. What? And I'm gonna die. And she goes, what happened? Oh. Not for sure. But obviously I approached that the wrong way. I should have said, oh, you love me, and then died.
It's different.
God.
So, was there anything else, in your comedy career that you wanted to, that I haven't
Oh,
touched
it doesn't
on?
matter, bro. Seriously, I was just teasing you. Like I said, I'm going with the flow. Whatever the heck you guys want to talk about.
So how is the transition, like, from
To a man from being a woman? It's a little uncomfortable at first. I kind of miss bleeding. No, I'm kidding. There's nothing good about being a girl. That is awful. That's the thing that always kills me. Like, I feel so bad for women. They have it so bad. Like, why would I do everyone to be a woman? Yeah. What?
Oh my God.
You have to have a baby. Like, for us to have a baby, we have sex. That's it.
No. Have you ever?
They have to destroy their whole bodies.
Man, it doesn't hurt as bad as getting the boys hit with a baseball bat or something. That hurts.
Oh.
Didn't women talk about the baby thing?
It's so bad. But no, so I did stand
I
up.
guess I won't be on any more podcasts.
No more. So you'll go back to your old job. Didn't you miss like the last 3?
I know, right? Go back to my old job.
Roaming reporter. Just send in footage from outside wherever you are.
He's Roman.
Stand up was fine. Like the people were cool. A lot of the celebrities are still my friends to this day. But if you were asking, I have so much more fun doing movies and producing and coaching other people towards their goals. What do they want to accomplish? Right. For me, I know this is a huggy, feely, lovey, heck, you have a comedy club, but you gotta admit, some comedians just are the worst human beings. They have huge egos. What? They're not happy for you. They're some of the worst people I've ever met in my life. Yeah.
Stealing your material.
They're not happy. If you get a great gig, the first call they have is, do you got the booker's info? Can I get in there? Yeah. Can I do a guest set? Can I drop in? I mean, I dealt with all the stuff. Because I had successful shows, I had idiots who would want to go an hour, 2 hours, celebrities who would want to drop in and bump the guys I had booked. I mean, just some of the most disgusting stuff. Mm-hmm. And eventually, over time, it's
not good people.
Yeah, I want to surround myself with good people and writers. For me, I work with. I ran the Horror Writers Association, in Las Vegas. We were talking before the show. He thought I said something else. So scary writers, scary authors. In making films, making movies, promoting other people's dreams and visions and the things that they want to accomplish. That fulfills me so much more these days here in Vegas.
That's great. How are you able to do that in Vegas?
What do you mean? You mean people come here with a dream, man? They have passions. And what I'll do is I'll sit down and I'll identify what is it that you want to do, and then what's it going to take to get you there. And a lot of the times it's holding people's feet to the fire, keeping them motivated, keeping them encouraged, and it's stuff that you can't. For me, it's fun because I never know what I'm going to get into. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. I'll bring it back to stand-up. One of my clients was a really successful stand-up comic, but his dream in life, the thing he wanted to do before he died, was be a writer for a TV show, like a successful TV show. He had no writing gigs. So I took him on, I did some behind the scenes stuff, moved things around, and got him on the Ellen DeGeneres show. He was As a writer. Nice. For the Ellen DeGeneres show. But here's the problem. What did I tell you his dream was? To be a writer for the Ellen DeGeneres show. And he got that. He lasted 1 season and then they fired him. The season that he was on as a writer, got nominated for an Emmy, He won the Emmy. They sent it to him. He gets his own Emmy. All the writers get their own Emmys. But he's sitting at home, unemployed, looking at his Emmy. Yeah. And he calls me in tears because he can't, am I a success? Am I a failure? What am I? Where do I go from here?
So
I got the thing to kill himself.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
Did you get the Emmy?
Naturally.
Of course. On my shelf with all the other people I've convinced to off themselves. But my point is about what is your success? What does it mean to you?
Hold on. I'd like to know, why did he get fired?
Yeah.
Not making friends with the right people. Sometimes it's not. I don't know if you've read it for TV shows. Sometimes it's they're doing potluck night. And you didn't bring in food that enough of the people liked, or you never agree. It's BS politics. So the point is, he had this thing he wanted to do. He had it. He was successful at it, and then it was taken away. So who is he now? And so those are the fun things I get to navigate these days.
Yeah, he's a writer with an Emmy award. That's what he is. Yeah.
Well, you could have taken the opportunity to tell him, well, you achieved your goal, now set a new one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is he still working with you, or what's the...
No, I set a goal where we're going to, unlike a lot of coaches, whether it's like theater or comedy or whatever, they want to, when they have a client or somebody who's working with them, they want to attach them forever. They never want them to go away. They want them to keep paying.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite. I say, what's our goal? And then what's our timeline? Sometimes it's 3 months. Sometimes it's 6 months. The most I'll do is a year. And then I cut you off. Because listen, baby bird, you got to fly. Like at some point, they've got to go out and do this thing. Otherwise, I become this life support system. Right. Hey, you're still good, buddy. You can still do it.
You can do it.
Yeah, at some point, like money is good. I like money, but at some point, for the betterment of the business, I have to say, you need to start thinking for yourself, kid.
Well, for the betterment of the person, too. I mean, they got to be kicked out of the nest and go up. They've got the tools.
And sometimes it's writing a book. Sometimes it's, creating a tour. Sometimes it's selling a TV show. Sometimes it's optioning a book. It's a blast. So I love what I'm doing now.
So are you coaching full-time now?
I am coaching full-time, but I'm also doing films. So I'm producing films, which was a lot easier before this little coronavirus thing. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. Just this little...
I hadn't heard a word of it.
The Rona. I'm not a fan of the Rona. But we barely finished a comedy movie with a bunch of action stars and pro wrestlers and stuff called The Year of Laughing Dangerously. So it's in post-production right now. We actually... 3 days from finishing it, coronavirus hit in LA, so everything got shut down. We had to stop, and then we went back 2 months later with these pickup shots, and we finally managed to solve it. But there was another really large action film that I was doing with Randy Couture that got put on ice because it was going to be SAG-AFTRA. And now we're doing pre-production, completely overhauling it, doing it non-union because we can't.
Yeah.
The unions are insane. Like the precautions are nuts. They literally, you have a cast of, a crew and a cast of like 150, 200 people, and they want you to test everybody. If anyone tests positive for corona, you have to shut it down that day. You can never get a film done. So what are you supposed to be like, having everybody in hazmat suits, like friggin' spacemen? Like it's just insane.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we do have social distancing here. We are 6 feet apart. However, TV, like it adds 10 pounds to you, it makes us look closer. But we are social distancing.
It's what do they call that? It's what do they say when it doesn't look like what it is?
Yeah,
objects are smaller than they appear.
Objects are farther away than they appear.
Yeah, I'm actually like 500 feet that way, but it's the way we're shooting it.
Yeah. It's all in film. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and actually the thing you were talking about, my leaving of the entertainment industry for kind of a recalibration of my life is an essay that's in this brand new book that just came out.
Oh.
Every year, the Las Vegas writers get together and they put out a collection of essays. And this year's was Las Vegas Writers on Good and Evil and A Valley of Light and Shadow. And my story, which is this tale of leaving Hollywood, is called Neon Bastard. So.
Oh, that's terrific. I love the title.
Yeah.
Terrific.
I love it because it's about me. There's my face.
Hell yeah.
Look, there's my face. It's my face, so you know I'm not lying to you. But it's very exciting. And I have sold short stories for Chicken Soup for the Soul and tons of horror books. I have novels out that are great. But this is that true story about what happened.
So where can the audience, if they're interested in seeing your face in person?
Oh, me?
No, where can they get the book?
To my garage. I live at 13 Mockingbird. No, I'm just kidding. Any bookstore, Barnes & Noble, etc. And even for my books, just look up Tim Chizmar. But this in particular tells that story about, and I'm honest, like I tear up. I had to read this when we had the launch of it, and just some of the stuff, the honesty that you don't hear about the millionaire clients that I know who have everything, and they're depressed and lonely and sad and full of hate. And there's a celebrity director in Hollywood who, his last movie was a $3 million film for Lionsgate, used to pay me to get friends to come and hang out with him. He would give me money to get guys and girls, and it wasn't a nookie thing. It was just straight, he was lonely and he had everything in the world. He has these 2 amazing penthouses, walks around with hundreds of $1,000s worth of jewelry, this amazing Bentley, and he can't have a deep... And then he'd get a limo and go to some fancy restaurants where he could kind of show off, but he didn't know how to have that connection with people. And I saw myself, the longer I was in Hollywood, I saw these elements coming into myself like that. And I didn't like what was happening. And so I took a year off in Idaho. When I left Hollywood, I went to Idaho for a year in the mountains. Okay. I took a job working with kids who had behavioral problems, and I worked on novels for 1 year because I wanted to do something that was completely un-narcissistic, not selfish. For 1 year, I just wanted to focus on little kids who had issues in the classroom. And after that, I knew I was still too weird to really exist like a regular person, but I didn't want to go back to LA. So that's why I came to Vegas, because to me, Vegas is close enough to LA that I feel the warmth, but I don't get burned. When I live in LA, I was going to red carpets and going to events and, talking to celebrities, and, the basis of our friendship would be, who do you know? How can I get in there? And I didn't like those elements, so I had to remove myself.
So how was your day? That's awesome. Speechless.
So, how did you get into horror writing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
where did that come from?
My parents.
Oh, wait! Before you go to that, did you see the new movie The Empty Man? Did you see that?
No, a friend of mine was telling me about it. I haven't seen it yet.
Weird. Okay, I just wanted to.
It sounds like all the people in Hollywood, no souls. They're all just walking around empty men, just shells.
And that's what it was about.
Oh, really? He sold his soul back in the 80s for a Snickers commercial. You asked about horror. Okay. My parents are convicted felons. I grew up in a real traumatic household. Wow. And saw a lot of crazy things. And so it's one of the ways that I deal with it as an adult. For example, my mother would tell my sister and I that our rooms were haunted by demons. And so from the age of, baby until like the 4th, 5th grade, we would roll our beds together in the living room to sleep in the same room to protect ourselves from the demons. And to this day, if you called my mother and asked her about it, she'd be like, yeah, we slept together to protect him from the demons. I didn't want the demons to get him. So she was wackadoo. And both my parents are convicted felons. Like, they met on a bus coming back from prison. The day my dad was released for being a drug dealer, he was on the bus and he met my mother, who had broken into somebody's house, tied him up and stabbed him until she thought he was dead. And he didn't die, and she only served her 20s in jail or whatever. But so those are the elements that feed into. It's a way that I soothe my darkness is horror writing, telling scary stories.
Comedy didn't soothe it.
Yeah,
wow.
But it's a real freaking blast. But I got a cute little story about presenting yourself. One of the first deals I did so I sold a couple of screenplays, and short stories, and when it was time to do novels, and I wanted to do these horror novels, I joined the Horror Writers Association in Los Angeles. True story. This is something, a bit of advice for anybody out there, no matter what your dream is, if it's to be a dancer, a singer, or whatever. A lot of that, and you probably know this, it's how you present yourself. Oh, yeah. So you come from a position of power, not from wanting somebody to help you. I went to the Horror Writers Association. All I'd ever done was sell some screenplays and short stories. I had never written a novel, but I talked like I was a big whoop-de-doo. And so this publishing house lady approached me at the end of the meeting, and she gave me her business card, and she said, Tim, I liked some of the things you were saying about that demon novel. Big surprise, I wanted to write a demon novel. So she's like, I like that idea. This is my card. I think we'd be interested in reading your book and maybe publishing it. And inside, I was thinking, lady, I haven't even wrote it yet. I've just written short stories. But outside, I took the card and I said, okay, well, thank you. I'll consider that. And then I left and I was like, what the heck? And because I didn't have any books, I just kept her card, but I didn't follow up on it. Because again, I didn't have the book. A couple of months later, I was at the LA Times Festival of Books, this big giant book fair event. And I was working with the HWA's booth over there, and the woman approached me again. And she said, Tim, can I talk to you for a second? Oh, absolutely, sure. And I left the table, and she said, Tim, I thought about it. You son of a... This is the professionalism I have to deal with on this show.
Not now. Oh, God.
Unbelievable.
Jeez, really. Continue. I insist.
Jimmy's a
We
worst.
planned that out, Tim. I'm like, Dillon, make sure your phone rings right when he's going to tell the story about how he got published.
Right.
House of Horrors. Who's this?
Jimmy's Pizzeria and Abortion Clinic. Your loss is our sauce. All right. So I took the card, never responded, never followed up. I'm at this other event.
Yeah.
She approaches me again. And asked if she could talk to me aside. So I go aside, we're talking, and she says, I spoke to my team and we thought about it, and we realized that we insulted you the first time. A man of your talent, your caliber, and all this, we insulted you by offering you a 1-book deal. So now we would like to offer you a 3-book deal if you would please consider publishing with us. And you can imagine inside, it's not like I blew her off or I was ignoring her. It was beyond what I was ready for. But she didn't know that, and I wasn't going to tell her that. And so I ended up signing a 3-book deal with the first publishing house.
That's a very similar story. There was a movie out recently about these guys had no idea how to do arms sales to the government, and they got a multi-million-dollar contract, and now they got again, it's sort of the same thing, right? I got myself into this. Now what do I do? But they made
Figure it out. You figured it out.
Did you do it?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, so 3 books with her company, and then I branched off into other ones. I even created my own imprint, and now I run various publishing houses and stuff. Yeah.
Horror movies. I can't do horror movies, but kind of give us an idea what kind of horror movies or horror books that you write. But is there like a theme, or is there?
Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes. The short answer is yes. The first book I put out was called Soul Trader, and it's spelled Traitor, and it's about demons in hell that when you say that you give up your soul for something, they're the ones that ping get the little lead. So it's a sales thing in hell. So they'll literally be like, Israel said he'd give up his soul for a new car. Who wants to handle this one? And they're like, I'll do it. And so they would show up. Well, there's this guy in hell, a demon in hell, and he's Jamaican, and he's Dimon.
Yeah.
So he's the demon Dimon, and he had dreadlocks. And he showed up, but he's unhappy because he's the best salesman in hell. So he's on the top of all the numbers. He's been doing this for so long, so he's kind of over the whole hell souls thing. And he comes to Earth. This girl says that she'd give up her soul. Anyway, long story short, he ends up taking her soul and seeing the loophole in the logic of heaven and hell, and he eats her soul. So instead of taking it back to hell, he has a soul now. Mm-hmm. So guess who gets to live on Earth? Because he's got a soul. Nice. And she sold it, so she gets what she wanted, and she gets to hang out too. She doesn't die. They fall in love, like you do. And now heaven and hell's pissed off, because heaven's like, this isn't the way it's supposed to work. And then in hell, people are very upset about this whole process. And so insanity and a little bit of hilarity ensues. And that's my first book.
Wow. So were all of your books or your films a little bit of horror and comedy, or?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was one of the stars of this movie. I worked with Full Moon Entertainment, and I was in a bunch of their. I was in classic American movies like Zombies vs. Strippers, and I was in Killjoy Goes to Hell, and the director liked me so much in my character that he didn't kill me off, and he had me come back, and I was one of the top 4 leads in Killjoy Psycho Circus. Now I don't have to tell you guys because I'm sure you guys have all the Killjoy movies, but this is part 5, and it's just about the best one you got on there. So I play one of the demon evil killer clowns, and you should definitely see it. I actually brought 3 copies. I didn't know how big your staff was, but I'm going to give them out to some people. So yeah.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
So basically, you just tell me after the show which one of your staff you don't like, and I'll give them a copy. Nothing more punishing than to watch me act.
So, Tim, 2 questions. How do you raise the money for the films, and how do you distribute them?
Excellent. So on raising money for film, it varies depending on certain circumstances, like if I'm working for somebody else. If an outside So for example, sometimes I will write a script and sell it. I got paid off the script, now it's up to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will do something on, like there's a company right now called Cinestate out of Dallas that do $3 million movies. They've done, Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell. They've done Vince Vaughn. They've done all these. They're right now, they're distancing themselves from horror, and they want Westerns, they want action, they want thriller. So I have a deal with them where I'm writing this Western right now for them. So, but for my own stuff, like for example, the Year of Laughing Dangerously, we had an outside financier who wanted to make this project, so she put up her own money to do it kind of as her own vehicle. But when it comes to distribution, as long as it's not a passion project, the hardest things to sell are passion projects because you love it, but we don't know that anybody else gives a damn. Yeah. So typically when I go into doing a film, I want to work on the genres that I know I can sell, action and horror. Those are the two that are the easiest, and it's not just because I like it. They translate in other countries. Humor, drama does not translate. Right. What's making people laugh their guts out in Poland isn't necessarily going to work in Texas. So I like to focus on action and horror, and then a lot of it is attaching a celebrity. Even if they do, let me give you an example. One of the projects I worked on starred a little young whippersnapper, you might not have, Bruce Willis, and the budget of the film was $3 million. Do you know what $2 million of the budget went to?
Bruce Willis.
That's right. Because you have Bruce Willis in your film, he worked 2 days. He got $1 million a day. But because you have Bruce Willis, now you can go on to make your 15, million or whatever because you had him in it. So we'll do that, but at different levels depending on what the budget is. You mentioned RVD. I shot that comedy. RVD and his lovely girlfriend Katie Forbes was in my film for a day. And we got some old 80s action stars, and we got some scream queens, and we got people who, like, there's a guy from Eddie and the Cruisers, Michael Pare. Michael Pare is really hot right now because it doesn't jump on every little thing. So when you put Michael Pare in your film, you pay him for a few days' work, but because he's in the film, that still sells overseas. So a lot of it, so if that answers your question, it's on a case by case, but if you go into it smart and you say, we're going to spend this, and the sweet spot is under 200K. Like if you're like, 156,000, you're going to be great. You don't want to go over 300 unless you're in the like $1 million range. You know, like my friend's film with Lionsgate was $3 million because it's Lionsgate. So, and they use some really big rappers and all this other kind of stuff. But if you do it around 156, 200,000 and you attach some celebrities to it and it's in a genre that will sell, now is the best time to be doing this stuff because with COVID shutting down all the big SAG projects, the content distributors they're so hungry for something. So anything that you can give them, you can make that big money that would have went to Warner Brothers.
I see, because they just want to acquire right now. They cannot create their own thing because of the COVID, because of all these restrictions. So they're just doing acquisitions. I see. Wow. Yeah, so it's great. It's a great business to be in. It's a real blast. I have a lot of fun with it. I love working with interesting, creative, unique people, and I'm happy. So if, let's say an actor or a writer or a comedian sees this, they want your services. Like, what would be the process, the conversation, the first steps in working with you? Well, how do you qualify them? How do they qualify you? Like, how does it? For what specific? Coaching. Well, coaching. I just need to know that they're dedicated to. The nice thing is I'm at the point now where I can say no to some people. So I will weed them out. I will sit down and have a lunch with somebody and we'll talk about it. What do you want to do? What have you done before? Can you commit to doing this? And then if everything works out, then I pick up a client and we lay out their goals and we make it happen. But I have to wean them on the basis of, is this going to be a waste of time for all of us? Are you somebody who's going to sit across from me and tell me that you want to write your book and you can't get through the first chapter? Because that's the biggest problem for a lot of these wannabe writers. And a lot of my clients have been writers since I've come out here. And they will continuously, the biggest problem for a writer is rewriting that first chapter. They overthink it. Oh, and I'll tell you my number one pet peeve. I mean, this is something I've went off on panels, and I've went toe to toe with other authors about it. I do not believe in writer's block. Watch my words. There is no writer's block. If you are a plumber, you don't get plumber's block. If you work on computers, you don't get computer worker writer guy's block. If you're a cop, you don't get cop's block.
Cop blockers. The point is, it's your job. It is your job, and your job is to sit there and tell your story. So just tell it. Even if it's crap, you can edit, change, adjust, and move around crap. But if you do nothing, how can you adjust or refine crap? You know how like a beautiful gem at the end of a stream, it starts off as a big lump of crap. So you throw the crap at the beginning and then it gets knocked around and smoothed out while it's going down. Then at the end, oh, it's beautiful. But if you don't put the crap in the stream, how are you going to get the gem? Right?
There you go.
I got stream block. I've got water rock block. It's just dumb, and it irritates the crap out of me because I get so much of it. I'll be talking about my books or my comics or a project I'm doing, and people will come up and they're like, "I want to do it." Or like, "I want to make a movie." Okay, what have you done? Do you have a script? Oh, I mean, no, I don't even know. Do you have final draft? Do you know how to do the format of writing a script? Oh, no. Oh, because you couldn't have Googled it? You couldn't have looked it up? You couldn't have picked up a book about, hey, dummy, how to write a script? Like, it's just so amazing to me, the people who stayed in their own goddamn way. And so this is part of my job, is to get you away from yourself. If this is what you want to do and you're willing to put in the effort, I'll absolutely walk you through it. And their success is my success. There's nobody happier than when I pick up somebody's book and in the back they thank me. And nobody has to know why they thank me. It could be that I, fished him out of the toilet when he was 5. They don't have to know that I walked them through getting the book done, but I know. And so I have a bunch of, movies where in the end credits they thank me, or books or whatever, and that feels good. That feels great. But I have to know that they're willing to put in the effort, because the talking is so easy.
Right.
Less talk, more walk. Everybody's like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. I just want to see that they've put some effort in, some thought in, some time in, that they're willing to really want this.
What about the broke comedian out there who wants to put in the effort, loves stand-up comedy, but doesn't have the discipline? How do they get it?
You and I know it's not about money. I have been homeless in a car that was about to be repossessed, and then I've worked my way up to having $150,000 in the bank. Money is not an issue. Way more important than money is contacts and connections and how you treat people. And it's that old saying that people rarely remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel.
Right.
And there are people that have been amazingly helpful to me that love me to this day, and they'll have my back, and I'll have their backs. That stuff's way more important. So if somebody's out there and they're a penniless, broke, struggling comic who's depressed as hell, I can absolutely, I sound like a preacher or something. Like, I'm just some guy who does entertainment stuff. Listen, I'm not going to change your life, all right? That's on you. But if you have the determination and you want to make something happen, reach out to me, drop me a line. I've got my website. I'm not hard to find. He found me. I was behind his dumpster.
What is your website? Jim Chizmar.
Tim.
That's what I said.
Tim Chizmar. It's the graphics people will put it right here. They'll put it right here in post. They'll love that I'm telling them to do that. So right here, timchizmar.com. Right here. Just because I did that to mess with you, they're probably going to put something, something awful.
Something right here is what I'll say right there.
I love donkeypunches.com.
Like ruindays.com.
I have a whole shelf of Emmys.
Guess what's in my butt.com.
Oh my God.
So okay. So we get the broke issue out of the way, right?
Right.
So what if they have the effort, they just don't have the discipline? They keep sleeping in, or they keep smoking, or whatever it is.
The beautiful thing about this journey is somebody may think they know what they want to do, but once they start to do it, they'll go in a different direction. The woman who hired me, that we just finished her movie, started off by hiring me to be her comedy coach. Mm-hmm. She wanted me to teach her how to do stand-up, how to write jokes, set up, punch, tag, call back. I believe you're familiar. And then so I did it. I worked with her. We worked on material. I got her into some open mics. I introduced her to some celebrities. They let her do some guest spots on their shows, so she'd run in front of a real crowd. You know what happened? Like 3 months in? She hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
She realized that the actual business of, okay, you want to be funny? Great. You need to be funny Thursday night, twice on Friday, twice on Saturday, once on Sunday, and then you have a few days off, and then I got another gig for you, 8 hours away over. It's too much. The business was too much for her. So she said, you know what? I think that doing this, though, being an older lady who left my job to pursue comedy, is a good story. So would you walk me through writing a screenplay to turn it into a movie? So then my job as being her comedy coach became her screenwriting coach. And then after it was done, we started optioning it in Hollywood. I had some people willing to buy it. The people who were willing to buy it wanted to change it. She didn't want to deal with that. So then she's like, why don't I just shoot it myself? What if I put up the funds and get everybody together? That way my vision stays intact. So it's not going to be completely changed and gutted, and the people are removed and added with monkeys throwing poop, which is what they do in Hollywood. That is the deal. So then,
a lot of monkeys.
Yeah. So once I'm somebody's coach, like I don't care, as long as they're honest about it, as long as they're not just making up excuses to not do the work, because I can see through that as well. But I'll walk them through whatever. So now she's got a movie, and she started off by being somebody who just wanted to tell jokes. And
look at that.
yeah, it's kind of cool. And that's just one of them. I try to limit myself to like 12 clients a month, and everybody's got different stuff.
How cool is that?
What is a typical day like in Tim Chizmar's life? Like a Monday. Okay, let's take the Manic Monday. So what is a Manic Monday like in Tim Chizmar's life?
I have a fiance now.
Okay, terrific. Congratulations.
Yes. And I said he.
I'm like,
You know why I said
it
he?
wasn't in your bio there, Tim.
My bio. No, listen. The reason I said he was I was gonna do some joke about it. Anyway.
Go for it.
She's lovely. And so you asked what I do. Every day now I've been hitting the gym. So I've been, trying to lose weight and be a better husband.
Which gym?
Jim Thompson. He's a guy who lives down the street from me. I hit him like all the time. It's very strong. And then I hop on the phone and I follow up on emails and I do some screenwriting and I work on some novels and whatever projects I have going on right then and there. But between trying to keep my life together and for the longest time I've lived like a college kid. I got a 2-bedroom condo and I got a cat. Now I've got this woman and now I'm thinking about kids and how life. I just turned 40, so now it's like yeah. So I'm a workaholic. I love drowning myself in projects, and it varies based on the projects. Like right now, if you were asking me, I have a short story that's due for another collection. I have the screenplay I'm doing with Dallas. I'm in pre-production on Randy Couture's action movie. You've heard of Randy, the big UFC fighter, the cage guy?
Yeah.
I'm producing his movie called Demon Angels, and it's like a From Dusk Till Dawn thing we're doing in the desert.
Oh, you're working out at Randy's gym?
No!
Just trying to find out.
No, it's actually called EOS Fitness. If you're
okay. No, I go to EOS Fitness.
Do
Which
you?
one?
There's like 3 around where I live, so I hit them all, but it's nice. You have the hot tub, the massage table. They limit you to 2 per day, 2 10-minute massages. So I'll lay there and I found out the hard way, because I'm like, oh, this is great. Oh, I want more of this. And then it cut me off. I'm like, what are you doing? But yeah, so it's projects, it's people, it's connections, it's setting up tours, it's setting up dates. Life was more on the road before COVID, but that's what I do. And I love it. I love Las Vegas. I hate snow. I hate snow a lot. Did I mention that I hate snow?
Yeah, me too. I hate snow.
Yeah.
That's why East Coast people move out here.
Everybody always says it's beautiful. Yeah. That's their excuse. When you tell them that it's a horrible thing that wants to kill you, slipping on ice, driving in the snow, it's a horrible thing. And everybody always says the same thing. Oh, but it's pretty. It's pretty. Yeah. It's like an abusive relationship. Like your lover is beautiful and they hit you, so you're gonna stay with them. Exactly. Get the F out of here. So I don't need snow.
Oh, hey, you know what?
What?
What's my terrible job every week?
Like you have to end the podcast?
I have to end the podcast.
We have so many.
There's notes. There's more notes.
We have to have Tim back.
We'll have to have Tim back. Not too soon though.
No, like tomorrow.
Come back. We won't be here, but come on back. No, but so my job, which I don't really mind. It's okay. Someone's got to do it, and I'll do it. It's a sad thing, but it's okay. So we're going to bring this podcast to an end, and I really, really enjoyed meeting you, Jim. Tim. I'll get that later. So we want to thank you guys for being a part of our audience tonight and putting up with us. It's been a crazy night. I really enjoyed it. Again, thanks to our production staff, Tim, see, now you got me doing it. Nick.
I'm inside your head.
A horror movie. So we got Nick and Sam and Elijah. What'd I say?
You're very funny.
You'll see it on YouTube.
He's so funny.
You'll see it on YouTube.
You cracked her up.
I know, right? So until next time, this is Dillon along with Isaac Israel saying thanks to Tim Chizmar Good night, everybody.
Night.